Hey everyone, and welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Citi Secured Mastercard. So I'll be going over the main features of this card, its pros as well as its drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of whether or not this card is a good fit for you. But before we go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $9,000 in free stock, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you got to do is once you click on that link, it's just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least 1 penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you at least 3 free stocks. Those are once again going to be worth up to $9,000. Okay, so diving right into the main features of this card. First off, we're going to be talking about what exactly is a secured credit card, what's its point, why exactly would you be applying for this card. So basically what a secured credit card is versus an unsecured credit card is a secured credit card is where you're basically just going to be using your own money. So once or if you are approved after you apply for this credit card, you will have to deposit money from your checking or savings account onto this card, and however much you deposit is pretty much going to be what your credit limit is. So for example, if you decide to deposit $500 from your checking account over to your credit card, $500 is going to be your credit limit each and every month. Now with this card, the minimum that you can deposit is going to be $200, and you can go up to a maximum of $2,500. So basically you pretty much just have to decide what will be the best fit for you. Now, this is the exact opposite of an unsecured credit card, whereas with an unsecured credit card, you're pretty much working with the bank's own money. So if you're applying for a card and you're accepted, they might give you a credit limit of, let's say, like $10,000. In that case, you're not having to deposit $10,000 from your checking account over to them. In that case, you just rack up the charges on your card, and then you have an amount due after each statement cycle. Now, what exactly is the point of a secured credit card? Well, basically, for the bank that's issuing the card, it's a lot less risk for them. So it might be for someone who is building their credit score, or it might be for someone who is rebuilding their credit score. And what it's doing is it's establishing the individual's ability on whether or not they are trustworthy to pay the bank back their money. And then over time, let's say after maybe 1 year, you can build up your credit score. And at that point, you can apply for other credit cards where they're unsecured, and also you can earn better cash back, better spend bonuses, better benefits all around. Now, as far as when you get your security deposit back, so you're depositing once again anywhere between $200 to $2,500, you're probably wondering when exactly you can expect to get this money back. Well, you can expect to get this money back whenever one of two things happen. So either you close your account and your account is fully paid off and you're in good standing. At that point, you would be getting your security deposit back. Or after at least 18 months have passed, if Citi determines that you're a trustworthy cardholder, you've been paying on time, and in their eyes you're trustworthy enough, they will then make your card be from secured to unsecured, and at that point they will also be releasing your security deposit back to you as well. Now, unfortunately, with the secured credit card by Citi, there aren't a whole lot of perks. Like for example, with other credit cards out there in the market, you might see that they're offering like 2% cash back, where every $100 that you spend, they then give you $2 in cash back, or they might even have a spend bonus where they'll give you like $200 or $300 as long as you're able to spend at least $1,000 within the first few months. Well, with this card, there's not a spend bonus either, so you're not going to be earning cash back. You're not going to be earning a spend bonus. There's not a whole lot of great perks with this card. However, what you will be receiving is the fact that you will not have an annual fee to pay every single year, so you can use this card, you can build your credit up, and you don't have to pay an annual fee to do so, which all in all is pretty good because other secured credit cards out there will make you pay an annual fee of, let's say, like $95. So it is a pretty good perk that you do not have to pay an annual fee to have this card. Also, in addition to that, you're also going to have a $0 liability on unauthorized charges. This is a common perk with other credit cards out there in the market, but it's still nice to have. Basically, what this means is if you're in a store and your wallet falls out of your pocket and someone picks it up and racks up hundreds or thousands of dollars of charges on your credit card, you will not be held liable to pay for those charges because you did not authorize them. Also, if someone steals your credit card number and they go online shopping and spend, once again, hundreds or thousands of dollars with your card, again, in this case, you will not be held liable to pay for those charges, so that's definitely a pretty good perk as well. In addition to that, you can also choose your own due date. So for example, this could come in handy. Let's say, for example, you get paid on the 15th of every single month, but your due date would normally fall on, let's say, like the 10th. In that case, you could push your due date back to the 20th. That way, whenever you get paid on the 15th, you will have a few days to make the payment that once again would be due like on the 20th, so you can choose your own due date. Also, you can set up auto pay. This can definitely come in handy because we already have a lot going on in our lives. And it would be very easy to slip up and miss a credit card payment. And with a secured credit card, you definitely want to be making payments on time, because the whole point of getting this card is to make sure your payments are being sent on time, increasing your credit score. So definitely setting up auto pay can definitely be a good way to do that. Then you're also going to be receiving free access to your FICO score. So every single month you can see updates, see if your credit score is improving. And they'll also let you know things you can do to improve your credit score as well with that. And then you're also going to be receiving MasterCard ID theft protection, so that's a pretty good perk as well. So now that we went over the main features of this card, at this point in time, we are going to move into the APR and fees, because of course this is also super important as well. So starting out, your purchase APR is going to be 27.74%. This is pretty high, but as long as you're making payments on time every single month and in full, you will not have to pay interest anyways. As far as balance transfers with this card, your APR on those is going to be a whopping 27.74% as well. Now with this card, there's not much of a point in doing a balance transfer. What that is basically you're transferring a balance from one card over to the other, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do so with this card because you're going to have such a high APR at 27.74%. As far as cash advances go on this channel, we always strongly recommend to stay far away from cash advances. This, of course, should not be considered financial advice, just something that I personally try to avoid doing. They usually have a very high APR, plus you're going to be paying a lot of fees as well. But if you do decide to do a cash advance with this card, just know that your APR on them is going to be 29.99%. Plus, you're going to be paying a lot of fees as well. Now, the fees on your cash advances is either going to be $10 or 5% of the amount of each cash advance, whichever happens to be greater. So in the case that you do a $300 cash advance, in that case, your fee is going to be $15 in addition to the 29.99% APR. Then as far as balance transfers go, again, there's not much of a point in doing a balance transfer with this card, but if you do one, the balance transfer on that is either going to be $5 or 5% of the amount of each balance transfer, whichever happens to be greater. Also, there's going to be a foreign transaction fee with this credit card. So if you do happen to travel outside the United States, there's also going to be a fee of 3% on each transaction that you make. That's definitely a downside. Then there's going to be a fee if you happen to pay late or have a return payment. That fee is going to be up to $41. Now, if you happen to pay late the first or maybe second time, you could always try calling into Citi to see if they would waive that for a first or second time convenience. I definitely wouldn't test your luck much past the first or second time, and there's certainly no guarantee that they will waive the fee, but I would definitely call in and just see what they can do. That's another great reason to set up auto pay, just to ensure that you're not paying late and you don't have to pay that $41 late payment fee. And as far as the annual fee, like we already discussed, there is no annual fee, so that is a pretty good perk of this card. So now that we went over the main features as well as the APR and fees of this card, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and dive into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and cons of it. So we're going to start out with the good things. The first good thing is the fact that, of course, you can build your credit score with this card. So definitely what you're going to want to do, once again, is just to make sure that you're paying on time every single month. You're not going to want to have any late payments. Also, in addition to that, it's going to be very important to keep your credit utilization ratio low. I would say anywhere between 10 to 30% or even lower than that would be the best case scenario. So basically what credit utilization ratio is whatever your balance is at the end of each statement period divided by whatever your credit limit is. So let's say that whenever you get your statement and you owe $100 and you have a credit limit of $500. In that case, you'd be taking the $100 that you owe, you'd be dividing that by $500. So in that case, you would have a credit utilization ratio of 20%, which would be pretty good since it would be below 30%. However, if you want your best case scenario, you would want to keep that below 10% if you can. Now, the other pro of this card, of course, is the fact that you're also not going to be paying an annual fee, because many other secured credit cards out there, unfortunately, you do have to pay an annual fee. So the fact that you don't have to pay an annual fee is definitely a pretty good perk. Now, as far as the downsides go, the most obvious thing is the fact that you're not really going to be earning a whole lot of benefits. Once again, there's no spend bonus with this card. You're not going to be earning cash back. And then also, you're going to have to pay a 3% foreign transaction fee. So if you do happen to travel abroad, that's going to be another fee that you have to pay with this card. But just to sum things up, all in all, this is a card that you can definitely have. You don't have to pay anything for it, and you can build your credit score. However, all in all, this is a card I probably would not recommend just because there are other secured credit cards out there that are better than this one. The Discover It Secured credit card, for example, you don't have to pay an annual fee for. However, you will be earning 2% cash back in the restaurant and gas station category, and then 1% cash back on everything else. And then also at the end of your first year, Discover will be matching whatever cash back you earned. So for example, let's say that you earn $200 in cash back. At the end of your first year, Discover will match that and give you a $200 spend bonus. So that's all we have for today's review. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would definitely appreciate if you could give this video a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.